justice. Political activists are chanting in the streets now. Political activists, non-violent resistance.
Oregon NORML, the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, presents a Cannabis Community Forum. At Oregon NORML, we are leading the fight for common sense regulation of the most useful plant ever known to mankind, cannabis hemp. We stand for the safe, protected medicinal use of marijuana by patients legally enrolled in the Oregon Medical Marijuana Program. We stand for the industrial use of hemp to provide food, fuel, and fiber for America and a viable cash crop for Oregon farmers. We stand for the regulated private use of cannabis by adults. Most importantly, we work to reform state and federal laws regarding marijuana and bring an end to the harassment, arrest, and imprisonment of responsible, tax-paying American citizens. The opinions of our panel and our callers are no substitute for your own personal, professional, legal, and medical counsel. We encourage everyone to learn the state and federal laws regarding cannabis, and we discourage the non-medical use of cannabis by anyone under 18 years of age. And welcome to Oregon NORML Presents, a Cannabis Community Forum for Sunday, November 2nd, 2008. I'm Radical Russ Belville, the Associate Director of Oregon NORML, and I'm joined as always by our legal counsel, Paul Loney.
Hi Russ, good to be here.
Good to be here. I hope you had a good Halloween weekend.
It was a very weekend.
A good very weekend? It must have been really good. We got a lot of stuff to cover here on Oregon NORML Presents, so stay tuned and make sure to get yourself a pencil and paper. We're going to have all sorts of information that you're going to want to write down that's important to the cannabis community. There's a lot of threats to the Oregon Medical Marijuana Act, and we're going to be detailing them in our hemp headlines later today. Also coming up, we're going to be showing you a couple of videos. We've got a video from Alan St. Pierre, the Executive Director of NORML, at the NORML National Conference in Berkeley, California that just took place a couple of weeks ago. Alan St. Pierre details the pot and politics for 2008, so you can kind of have an idea what's happened and what the future direction of drug law reform is for the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. Also, in our Legal 411 segments today, Paul is going to be taking a look at the upcoming election with both statewide initiatives, that are on the ballot in California, Massachusetts, and Michigan, and a look at a couple of measures on the Oregon ballot that have to do with mandatory minimum sentencing for drug crimes. So we'll get to that really soon. But first, we're going to start off with our cannabis community calendar like we always do at the beginning of the show. Get your pens and papers ready. This is the time to write some stuff down. Coming up here on the second and fourth Saturday of every month is our Oregon Medical Marijuana Card Holders Meeting. The next one will be Saturday, November 8th. This takes place at the Mount Tabor Legacy Theater, which is at Southeast 49th Avenue and Southeast Hawthorne Boulevard in Portland, Oregon. This will be, like we said, Saturday, November 8th, and the doors open at 11 a.m. and they close at noon. That's very important. If you get there after noon, you're not getting in. You have to be there before noon because you have to sign in. We have paperwork we have people sign and make sure everything's very legal. And Paul will give you a little idea of what the requirements are to get into the meeting.
Yeah, you must bring your Oregon Medical Marijuana Program patient or caregiver card or stamped paperwork that you've recently turned it in, an Oregon photo ID, and you have to be a member of Oregon NORML.
That's right. It's a membership-only meeting, which is what makes it a private meeting, which means it's not in public view, which means we're trying to cover ourselves with the law. So Get there early and make sure you bring all your paperwork. Also, the premier event for the cannabis community is coming up on December 13th. That's the Oregon Medical Cannabis Awards at the Aimbridge Events Center, 300 Northeast Multnomah Avenue in Portland. This is open to the public, and our tickets will be going online on our Oregon NORML website, or normal.org, on November 5th. We're meeting with the caterers coming on Tuesday, I believe, and we'll get the final dinner prices. There'll be a dinner with the awards. There's choice of beef, chicken, or vegetarian if you're interested in attending the dinner. The day events are like vending and presentations and our sustainable fashion show, as well as the keynote speech by NORML's Executive Director, Alan St. Pierre, who you're going to be seeing on video just in a few minutes. So you'll get to learn all the latest from the leader of NORML from Washington, D.C. And we're very, very happy to announce a special guest who will be joining us for the awards banquet, John Trudell, the activist, poet, and recording artist. John Trudell. If you're not familiar with John Trudell, he was a leader in the American Indian movement from the late 60s and early 70s. a spokesperson for the American Indian takeover of Alcatraz Island in the 60s as a part of the political protest, and then as part of the American Indian movement. He records his poetry along with Native American music, authentic Native American music, and we may even get a reading and some performance from John. We're still working out the details on that. But John Trudell, amazing that he's coming to OMCA.
It is. I mean, if you haven't seen him in person, you have to go. It's as simple as that. I've seen the guy numerous times, and he's always amazing. He has a strong presence, and he always has a very good message, intelligent message that's not always easy to comprehend.
He's very evocative. He can really bring out the emotions of this movement,
Yes.
and to take it beyond what we tend to get bogged down in the laws and the injustices, and he takes it to more of a spiritual, conceptual level, and it makes you really feel good listening to him, and it's really motivating for any of the activists out there. So please check out ornormal.org this Wednesday and get the tickets online so that you can come out and see John Trudell. Now, we have to move on right now to our legal 411. We're going to turn things over to Paul Loney to talk just a little bit about the election coming up this Tuesday and some of the ballot initiatives in various states that regard cannabis.
Yes. First one we'll talk about is Michigan's Proposal 1. It's medical marijuana. That's the one we'll basically take Oregon's program and put it in Michigan. There's not going to be dispensaries in Michigan. It just basically, if you have a qualifying condition in Michigan, you can get a card and be able to possess marijuana privately. The second one is Massachusetts Question 2, which would decriminalize cannabis. It would keep certain civil penalties for cannabis possession and use, but basically small amounts, you no longer have to be worried about being convicted of a crime and all the things that happen to a person when the person is convicted of a crime. And then down south of us in California, their Proposition 5, it's trying to update what they passed about 10 years ago. It's drug rehab for nonviolent offenders and cannabis decriminalization. All you need to know is the folks opposing that one are the prison guard industry and Arnold. Yes, I used to smoke, but I don't want to talk about that anymore. Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, and a few other things here on this. California Prop 5 is also known as NORA, the Nonviolent Offender Rehabilitation Act, and the other people that are opposed to it, surprisingly enough, or maybe not surprisingly, the beer distributorships in California put in $100,000 against that. They probably just don't want to compete with cannabis.
They always. I mean, they're the ones that are big donors to the Partnership for some Drug-Free Oregon, or whatever that's called.
Yeah, and the Michigan proposal, while they are taking the template from the Oregon law, I think their limits are lower. Other than that,
they definitely. Yeah, because Oregon, we went through that stage where we had very low limits at first, and everybody saw, the sky didn't fall.
Yeah, exactly.
So
we're looking forward to that. If Michigan passes medical marijuana on Tuesday, they will become the 13th medical marijuana state with an operative law. Of course, Arizona has a law, but it's not operative. So 13th medical marijuana state, and the first one in the Midwest, which will be a huge victory for the reform movement. Nearby states up there, Illinois, Minnesota, they've been trying medical marijuana for the past few legislative sessions, so this might just get the ball rolling in the Midwest.
Yeah, I definitely think in Minnesota, if it passes in Michigan and Minnesota, because I think it passed one house there, and they'll definitely see that, okay, it's okay, because Upper Peninsula, Michigan, it's right there next to Wisconsin and Minnesota. So
exactly.
People be driving over the border.
And let's not forget to tell everybody else out there here in Oregon that if you haven't voted yet, it's time to vote. You need to vote. And with our vote by mail system, I do believe you're going to have to go turn it in physically. I don't think you'll have enough time to get
No, because it's not like in some states where they count the ballots after they come in. Here, they have to be in their hands by Election Day. So you can either go to Multnomah County in a library here and drop it off. They have secure ballot boxes, or at the not Secretary of State's, but the County Election Division.
Yeah, definitely. We got to vote. Your vote is important. Your vote does count.